What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about trka. And this is your favorite bourbon and scotch review channel. More so, we just talk about stocks to support the habit. Yeah, today's Basil Hayden toast. We've reviewed this one before. It was just opened and nearby in the office, if we can see it. So it's there. Let's look at the charts. Let's look at the Ortex. Couple interesting things. I'll tell you what I'm looking at, what I'm looking for. Do I think we're out of the woods yet? And what's the overall trend? What's the pattern? Let's get into it. As always, this is not financial advice. You guys know that by now. So let's start with the charts. Let's look at it on the shorter time frame. I mean, we're having a pretty decent day today, but where are we? We're right here at the trend line breakout / rejection area that we've been trying to get our way out of, this flag that we've been going in. Could I see one more touch? I could. That's why I don't know if we're totally out of the woods and going to be going 100% to the upside just yet, but if it does, awesome, right? I'd rather see upside than downside any day, but we talk about protecting our accounts or, possibly making the trade or whatever you want to do. And so that's why we throw out these numbers as well. Again, you guys know your areas, right? Obviously, you want to be catching your lower trend line if you're DCAing or if you're, if you don't have the position that you want yet. Here's obviously, what are you doing up here? Well, if you're flipping the thing, then you got it nice and laid out where you're flipping it. So you have options. It's like I say in a lot of tickers, you don't have to wait for the thing to go to $1 million. You can make your 50-100% just by flipping channels if you want to. It's not a diamond hand channel, guys. It's a trading channel. So just keep that in mind. We do talk to everybody, whether you're holding for the long term or you are just flipping this thing. And again, I don't care. It doesn't, I always say, unless you're a whale, you're not affecting the play. We're just trying to ride whatever big money's doing. But looking at it, I would almost say that we have had a little bit of a reversal as long as this continues to play out, right? We set our bottom. We got a little bit of a higher high or a higher low. And again, we have a higher low here, but I just don't know if this one's done and over with. We have our higher highs that have been coming in, so that's nice to see. Kind of forming a rising broadening, which is not the best thing. I would like to see that totally get annihilated and wiped out and just taken off of the table if it can do that. But at the same time, I'm looking for this retest down here on the 4 hour. If this does not hold, we know we're back in our 25-28 cent box that we just peeked into. Looks like we got smacked back down out of that. It's at 24.59 at the time of recording this video, 11:52 market time. Make your trades early on Fridays, guys. We know a lot of things get pinned. So I drew this white line on the 4 hour just to kind of keep an eye on the trend. Not coming all the way back down to this grind line that we've been watching. I wanted to step the 4 hour up. So what I did was I stepped the 4 hour up to where we bottomed, where that second 4 hour candle bottomed. And then this would be potentially where hopefully we see another bottom on the 4 hour if it wants to come back down a little bit lower. That's what I'm going to be watching on the 4 hour chart anyway, is this white line for a grind line on our RSIs, because I don't think there's any need for it to cool all the way back off here, or we're going to lose pattern. And what we don't want to do is lose pattern whenever we're trying to make our reversal and turn things around and start trending back to the upside. It's a slow, painful process. But at the same time, at least as long as we have a trend or something that we can follow and pay attention to, it gives us confidence in the play still, right? We're not just going on blind hope. We don't do hopium. We don't do any of that. We do if it's following our trend, and if we can see the trend, or if the thesis is still in play, then we talk about it with confidence. If it gets eliminated as far as any of our setups, right, our technical analysis or our thesis, if it gets eliminated, we can't just go blind. So as long as everything's still trending, I'm okay with that. Still watching it. I do know we are struggling right here, it looks like. So I don't know if this is going to be our breakout, which means that I'm going to be watching it back down to see, say, around that 22 cents, or even if it wants to come all the way back down to our safety net, which will be around 20 cents as of right now. If it gets all the way down to that very point, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Time will tell. It doesn't have to by any means. We have other supports in here that could catch and pick up at any moment. I was watching that 22.55, 22.70 range this morning. I added a little bit more just to bring my average down even more. Because I haven't lost confidence yet, and I tend to play my support lines, or what I think, looks like a pretty decent entry. If I talk about them, I'm usually playing them, and if I'm throwing out levels, I'm usually playing levels just to see how it's moving, if everything lines up, if the RSIs look right, if the trend lines look right on the supports. It doesn't mean, to make that your ambition in life by any means. I'm not a financial advisor. Just it gives a little bit more weight, I guess, to what I'm talking about whenever I come on here and talk about it with you guys. It's always nice to know that whoever's going to be telling you something has a little bit of skin in the game, at least. So we're going to see how it all plays out. Like I said, I didn't think that would be our breakout time. So let's see where we gain our support. It could come in. We're right here around 24 cents, getting a nice wick off of there. So possibly, right? But we need that breakout. We need that retest, and we know trka often does not like to give us that push that we need whenever we need it, and until it gets probably its third test up here. And so let's look for that third test, see how that comes in. With the ortex, it's still it's interesting. It's showing a little bit of an increase, right? We don't know exactly if these numbers are accurate. It's just reported. It's the best we have to work with right now. We can go to Fintel. Obviously, we know a lot of orders are still going off exchange, unfortunately. And it is what it is, that we just have to play with what we have to work with. I know a lot of people hate the market mechanisms that are involved, but our goal is just to make money. And how do we make money? Well, we play with what the market gives us, whether that's good, bad, or ugly. That's why we protect our accounts to the downside, and that's why we secure profits whenever we have them. But 4.06% live short interest of the free float, coming in at 12.44 million live short interest. Our utilization has increased, which is interesting to me because our cost to borrow average came down again, 35.49%. So with the utilization going up, we would think that the cost to borrow average should be going up. Not 100% clear on why we would have the discrepancies as far as that goes, but we'll keep an eye on what's exactly going to go on here as these numbers change. I would expect with the rise in the short interest, it looks like it just updated, came down a little bit maybe. I would think still it's green. So with the increase in the short interest, I would think that our utilization should continue to climb. Once that hits 100%, we've seen plenty of stocks have 100% utilization for days, months, maybe years, and the cost to borrow average not do a whole lot. But I want to see that cost to borrow continue to climb. That's only going to help us for those that are taking legitimate shorts in the market. They're going to need bigger moves in quicker amounts of time for that to be a profitable play for them. So we'll continue to watch what the cost to borrow average does along with the charts. 2480. So again, 25 to 28. You guys know that's our heavy supply zone, but I would like to see us get back in that box and continue to soak up that supply the best that TRK possibly can as it works its way through there. Eventually, the supply will get eaten up as long as we can continue with the path that we're on. It's just going to take a couple of attempts, 3, 4, who knows how many attempts to actually get in there above with some strength, right? We had our nice push above, but that was a huge day, 50% or whatever that run was. You had to expect some profit taking. We talked about there's going to be some profit taking, so it didn't give us a whole lot of added support in here unless people continued to try to DCA, maybe if they were unfortunate and caught the very top of that wick. That's why we're always playing, the fear candles. If you can, you're looking for those support areas on the red candles. That's your entries. You don't want to be the guy that's buying the green candles at resistance levels. It happens all the time. It happens every green candle, right? Somebody bought here, somebody bought here. You really need to change the mentality to be looking for the red candle support areas. If you're DCAing down, it's going to help you in the long run, and just chart out what you can. We just need a few touches. What I try to do is keep everything very simple. So you'd find 3 touches on your charts and you draw your trend lines. I encourage everybody to go ahead and chart out everything that I'm doing, and come back and just compare your notes with mine, and if you agree with me, great, and if you don't, that's fine. We could give this chart to 3 different people and it would be drawn 3 different ways. My way is not always infallible. Sometimes I am wrong, but at the same time, if we're putting a couple of eyes on it, and then it can either confirm your bias or it can make you look at it in a different light. And we just take it one day at a time. Everything trades on algorithms. There's not a stock out there that does not trade on an algorithm. So we just find the algorithm. We determine what is the bounce points. We determine what the rejection points are, and we think like a machine. And that's what you have to get your brain into. Again, Fibonacci. I'm a huge Fibonacci fan. Pick your highs, pick your lows. It can be daily, it can be longer term, depending on what you're looking at for your scalps, and use your RSI in line with those levels. If we're seeing, if we're seeing an uptrend or bounce points or whatever, great. Probably going to keep moving through your levels. If you're coming down and your RSI's in the mud and you see a support line, could be a bounce point, great. So just continue to keep that in mind as we trend throughout the day. Let's see if we can get this breakout. It's going to be a tough one because we're right at our 25 to 28 cent area that has a huge supply, and we are also right there as far as our trend line goes. So we have a couple of resistance that are in our way. But if we get that breakout there with a retest and a push, it might make it a nice place to break out. So those are all the things that I'm watching today. We'll see if anything crazy happens, but I'll try my best to get back here this weekend and do some videos. I know my weekends have just been a little hectic lately, and it's been stealing me away from making some nice weekend videos. So I'll do my best to get back and do that as well. How's our patterns looking right now? 30-minute 3-barred up, but we got a big wick coming down on us right here. Let's see. The 3-bar up is nice, but again, it's getting us back to the top of that channel. The 1 hour, we got a 2-bar up right now. Let's see if we can close that one green and turn into a 3-bar up on the 1 hour. That would be beautiful. That could push us to a potential breakout, but Just be watching for what could be the downside, right? That's what protects your accounts. That's what keeps you in the play. That's what keeps you alive to trade another day. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you made some money this morning in the markets, and be safe over the weekend. Make good choices. I want to see you all back over the weekend, or if not the weekend, at least on Monday. I will catch you in the next one. As always, stay golden, people, and may your accounts stay green.